but not broken, with host Patrick Scrogin. As a U.S. Army attack helicopter pilot deployed in Iraq, Patrick faced a devastating crash, which resulted in him dying, losing a leg, and a slew of broken bones. Patrick's story of rehabilitation has helped others to overcome their own obstacles. Each week, Patrick recounts stories of inspiration and interviews guests who have overcome remarkable obstacles. This is Wounded But Not Broken, with your host, Patrick Scrogin.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another show with Wounded But Not Broken. I'm your host, Patrick Scrogin. I have a very, very touching story to share with everybody tonight. On the line with me, I have a special guest, retired Master Sgt Blaine Scott, a U.S. Marine veteran, and we're just going to let him go, dive into his story, and let us know what he's experienced and the hardships that he's faced and what he's had to overcome in his life. Blaine?
Hey, first of all, thanks for having me, boss. I mean, it's a privilege to be here with you guys tonight. I mean,
oh, man,
wow, when I got a phone call from you.
The honor is all ours, man. I really appreciate you taking your time out to do this.
But, well, shoot, man. Back when I was a sophomore in high school, man, I thought about the military. That's when it all started clicking on me. You know, first of all, I thought about joining the National Guard, and I was like, nah, I don't want to do that. I want to do something a little more challenging. No, I'm joking. But I ended up joining the Marine Corps back in October of 1992. I joined up, and I grew up in a small town in Iowa, a population of maybe 350 people, really small. I graduated class of 6 people. Pretty
wow, yeah, it's about like me.
Yeah. But, you know, I wasn't ready for college, didn't have the money for college. My parents definitely couldn't afford me to go to college. I thought, man, I need to do something. So I thought, well, let's join the military. Get the hell out of this small town and do something, you know. So
yeah, man.
October of 92, I went off to boot camp, spent 12 weeks there, graduated, and went to security. I actually joined the Marine Corps to be a security force Marine, and went to security force school. My first duty station was in San Diego, California. Podunk, Iowa. That was quite a change for me. You know, especially when my buddy started taking me to Tijuana and stuff. That was quite mind blowing.
Wow.
You know, so spent 2 years there in San Diego, and kind of grown up quite a bit, seeing the world, seeing what things were all about. And in '95, I went to my first infantry unit. That was in 2nd Battalion, 5th Marines there in Camp Pendleton. Went there as a Lieutenant Corporal E3. And again, you know, started growing up again, you know, even more, getting more knowledgeable about what the Marine Corps is all about, stuff like that. Then in 95 or 96, oh man, that's years ago, I went on my first deployment over to Okinawa for 7 months. You know, got to see a little bit of the world there. I think we went to a few different countries there, trained with a few different countries. I think that's when I went to Thailand, but quite an experience. Came back from there. Actually, right before I went, I got married, and when I was overseas, my first kid was born. My first daughter, Adriana, and when I got home, she was already 6 weeks old. So you know, I went from not being a dad to a dad overnight. I mean, it was, you know, to a little baby. It was quite experience.
Right, and that's a very difficult thing when you're gone. You know you're going to have a baby born. You're not going to be home for a while. You know that's a tough life to live.
Yeah, it was something else. You know, but you know, again, you grow up and because you have no choice. You got to do what you got to do. And then I'm sorry, my daughter was born in 98. I'm sorry, that was my second deployment over there. She was born. I'm sorry, I got that mixed up. But then in 98, I deployed again. My daughter was born the second deployment. That's what it was. I apologize. Everything kind of runs together after so many years.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was a long time ago. You've been through a lot of stuff, but I have to ask one question real quick. What persuaded you to join the Marines?
Oh, my dad was a Marine.
Okay.
And I kind of wanted to follow in his footsteps. And he talked briefly about it when I was a kid, but he didn't talk a whole heck of a lot because he was drafted in 1968. He didn't go to Vietnam or anything, but he said it was some of the best times he had in his life, and that's kind of what brought me into the Marine Corps.
Right.
So that's the main reason why I joined the Marines, I think. Because my dad was a Marine. My grandfather was Army Air Corps. That's what he was during World War II. He was lady, and he would tell me stories about when he was in there, World War II and stuff. Pretty neat listening to those stories. Yeah.
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 They had it tough back then.
Yeah. But
sorry to interrupt.
I came back. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I said sorry to interrupt you. You're on your second deployment.
Yeah, I was on my second deployment in 98. Came back there. I got to actually train with the Australian Marines. It was kind of neat. Learn about their culture and their way of life and everything. Spent some time in Australia and stuff. It was nice. But I actually got promoted to sergeant in my second deployment over there in Okinawa. But came back from Okinawa with my new daughter, and unfortunately, my marriage didn't last very long. Around 99, me and my wife ex-wife, ended up divorcing. But I still stayed in California and still spent time with my daughter. And then around right after we divorced, around 99, end of 99 is when I met my current wife, Lily. And we started dating and all that crazy stuff. And as soon as I met her, I went on my third deployment to Okinawa. And did my time over there and hit a few countries over there. Had a great time. Came back in 2000, and I ended up going to I was back for a couple months, and I ended up going to Marine Corps Mountain Warfare Training Center in Bridgeport, California, and still dated my wife there. That first year, I didn't see much of her because all it was schooling, learning all about the mountains and how to operate in mountains, how to work in the mountains, how to anything that had to do with mountains. It was pretty intense training. Not physically, but mentally.
Right.
Some of the hardest stuff I ever did. It was a lot of fun, and some of the best times I had in my life. And ended up becoming an instructor up there, teaching all that stuff. And then in 2001, I ended up getting married to Lily, and ended up moving her up there to Bridgeport with me. It was her first duty station as a Marine wife, and a lot of nights up on the mountain, and a lot of nights with her sitting in base housing alone, which was unfortunate. It was kind of rough that first year we were married, but we did what we had to do, and made us stronger. And then
right. Yeah, I mean, for sure. That's such a point to drive home is that, how difficult it is on family life, being in the military and being in a unit with the op tempo that you have and the deployable status, and, you're constantly in and out. That takes tolls on a family.
Yeah, I tell you what, if a wife and husband can withstand all that stuff, they can withstand anything pretty much. Trust me, I'm firsthand of that,
Absolutely.
Then the 9/11 hit. And in 2001, and again, I mean, I was hitting the ground pretty hard running. We were training a lot of Marines, getting them ready to go to Afghanistan, training a lot of Special Forces units from guys from Army Special Forces to Navy SEALs, training them how to operate the mountains and what to do in the mountains. I even taught mule packing to a lot of these guys. I even went to that school. And And I taught that for a long time. That was interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
And but that was in 2001, and then the next 2 years, like I said, we were pretty busy. 2002, 2003, our first child was born, Isabella, and luckily I had a great mom at home, take care of her. I didn't have to worry about her a bit, and I was a poor sergeant. I was only getting paid like $700 a month. I mean, because I had to pay child support. That stuff kicked me in the butt pretty good.
Right. And I don't think a lot of people really understand how little money you make in the military. I mean, it's a very difficult life, and you do it because you love it and you love this country. And, it's just such it's such a sacred thing to you and I, but most people don't really understand what comes with it,
You don't do it for the money, let's put it that way.
That's for sure.
So, I mean, we were on WIC 2 or 3 years that she was here with us. We were on WIC. My wife would go to school, we'd get the WIC stuff from the state, and my wife would go to the grocery store and get, butter, milk, cheese, just the basic stuff that WIC can get. Diapers, formula, and that really helped us out, believe it or not. Thank God, we had that to fall on. Because I don't know how sometimes we would have made it without the WIC. But, made it happen, But, my ex-wife was she was in the Air Force Reserves, and she got called up when the whole 9/11 thing. So my daughter came to live with us. And that was a challenging moment at the time, too, because my wife, she didn't know how to take care of a little toddler like that, and a baby. But like I said, we overcame it, and thank God I had the wife and support that I had from her.
Right, and I'm sure that she had support from the community, because usually the wives band together pretty well, and they become their own special unit and look after each other. And
yes, of course. It's a sergeant major wife would come down and check on my wife. The master sergeant there would come out and check on my wife. The master sergeant's kids would come down and check on my wife. I remember one night my dog got out, and the gate guard showed up in my house. Hey Lily, here's your dog. It was pretty funny. We're a small community up there, and everybody knew everybody, and it was pretty good up there at the we call it MWTC, Mountain Warfare Training Center. But I had a great time, and then they were asking for volunteers to go to Afghanistan for a year, for 7 months. And I raised my hand and said, let's go. I'm ready to go. And I was all ready to go, and I injured myself about 2 weeks before I was supposed to go. I guess the good Lord was looking out for me or something. But canceled my trip to Afghanistan for 7 months, and another buddy of mine went. And he did very well over there. But kind of canceled that trip for Afghanistan. I was looking forward to go. My wife didn't want me to go, honestly.
Yeah, they never do.
That was in 2004. I remember that. And then, that was 2003. And then after Bridgeport, in the beginning of 2004, I went to 29 Palms to Light Armored Recon Battalion. I picked up staff sergeant. So I was a platoon sergeant down at the LAV platoon down in 29 Palms with 3rd LAR, Delta Company. Again, I knew nothing about LAR. I knew nothing about LAVs. And they sent me to LAV Leader School. I learned the basics there, came back, and luckily I had great NCOs. I had a great lieutenant, and they all say, hey, this is how we do things here. And a good leader is going to listen to everybody in this platoon. I feel that's what I did. I listened to my young Marines. I listened to my lieutenant, my gunny. Everybody to take advice from them. So I think I had by the time we deployed in end of 2004 to Iraq. By the time we deployed, it was I had a good handle on things in my platoon. I knew how the LAVs operated. I knew how their tactics, and I was pretty confident when I deployed in 2004 with LAR.
All right. Blaine, real quick, we have to take a pause and a word from our sponsors here, and when we come back, we'll start in on Blaine's first deployment to Iraq.
Oh, sweet. All right.
Put your weapon next to mine. Put your weapon next to mine.
You're listening to Wounded But Not Broken with host Patrick Scrogin. We will be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Hey, right on down the line. Come on over. Come on over. What's not over? What's not over?
Attention, looking for semi-drivers nationwide. GTS Transportation of Burr Ridge, Illinois is looking to hire or partner with experienced CDL holders in every state. If you are going to drive, why not drive for the best? Whether you are driving solo, as a team, or as an owner-operator, GTS is looking to add you to their rapidly growing company. Become part of one of the most respected, driver-friendly, and successful transportation companies in America, where drivers are treated as royalty. Contact us at gtscarrier.com. Again, gtscarrier.com. Or call us at 847-754-4667. That number again, 847-754-4667. We would love to help you, which in turn helps everyone. GTS is an equal opportunity employer.
Dallas Corporation and Dallas Logistics, a proud supporter of the Veterans Radio broadcast for over 15 years. High-quality printing services and warehouse distribution have been our hallmark since 1985, serving Fortune 100 companies for over 35 years. Check us out at www.dallascorp.com.
VBN, Veterans Broadcast Network, brings you Unbroken, hosted by Patrick Scrogin. It lies within you to conquer your greatest challenges. Patrick tackles the stories of how others faced unthinkable odds, and then at a pivotal moment, a change occurred within them that gave them the strength, attitude, and direction to excel beyond the greatest expectations. Listen every week and learn how it is possible to defeat the impossible.
Welcome back to Wounded But Not Broken with host Patrick Scrogin.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Wounded But Not Broken. We're here with retired Master Sgt Blaine Scott. He was just getting ready to start in on his first deployment to Iraq. Go ahead, Blaine.
All right. Again, hey, thanks for having me again, boss. This is a great honor.
No,
all right,
man, it's our pleasure.
Yeah, end of 2004 was my first deployment to Iraq. I was excited to go. I was excited to be there. Man, that first... we drove our vehicles from Kuwait all the way to Al-Qaim, up there by the Syrian border. It took us 2 days to do it.
Gosh.
Yeah.
How long was that drive?
2 days drive up there, you know. We drove all the way to Ramadi, I think that first day, and then Ramadi up to Al-Qaim that second day. I remember getting there. Yeah. But we went up there, started doing our relief with I think it was First LAR. What's that? I don't remember. One of the other LAR's companies the Marine Corps has. And that first day out, it was an eye opener. You know, we're traveling along, and the vehicle in front of me got hit by an IED. Luckily, no casualties. And then we were looking up the AO. We were looking at it, see what we got to do, see what we had. And then later on that day, a second vehicle got hit with a mine and injured some Marines in there, but pretty mild casualties. And we got shot at a couple of times, like, wow, this is going to be a long deployment.
Yeah. How long were you all slated to be there?
We were supposed to be there 7 months. 7 months we were going to be there, you know. But after that first week, things weren't really that bad. We would do route security. We'd be out looking for IEDs. We'd find them. We would, what else we do? We did a few raids on a few houses. We do overwatch on bridges. We do overwatch over different other things. We'd be overwatch for, special forces unit comes in and do stuff. We'd be overwatch for those guys.
Like the outer blanket as they're in operation.
Yeah,
right?
the outer cordon for those guys,
Yeah.
Which wasn't too bad. And then I remember the first time we got rocketed. We were sitting on a bridge and we got rocketed. Luckily, no casualties, no damage, no big deal. And then that was up in Al-Qaim. And then we got moved. We would go from Al-Qaim. We got Haditha Dam. No, I'm sorry. Then from there we went down to a place called Hit. We moved down there and support the units down there. There was Hit, Haditha, and Habaniya, all right through there, right in the Al-Assad area.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with that area. Hey, really quick, just for some of the listeners that may not understand some of the lingo here, an IED, improvised explosive device, and when Blaine was talking in the beginning, they ran through a couple and not too many got hurt. And that was pretty common in the beginning of this war. They weren't very sophisticated at laying them, and obviously, just like anything else, practice makes perfect. And they got really good, and they became really devastating over a period of time.
Yeah, they were really good at them. Yeah, exactly. I mean, we found a lot of them. But,
and they were so good at hiding them too.
Yeah. But yeah, we went down to Haditha, Habaniya area, and then we were in Hit while all the other Marine Corps, while Fallujah was being taken down. We were doing our own thing in Hit through there and clearing out that town and stuff like that. So Fallujah wasn't the only town getting hit during that time. We were also
just got all the publicity.
Operations. Yeah, we were doing other operations throughout the AO, the area operation. So we were in charge of doing a hit, trying to get people who were getting the squirters, what we called them, people coming out of town trying to run away. We were dealing with those guys and stuff.
Yeah.
It wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad. But I remember the first time I took casualties, we were going from I believe we were going to Al-Assad to Haditha Dam, and one of my front vehicle got hit pretty good by an IED, and injured one of my Marines pretty bad. Surprised it didn't kill him, but believe it or not, it didn't. And I had that vehicle pretty good. That's the first casualty I ever had. Was that guy?
How bad was he hurt?
Oh man, he had a major TBI. It split his head open pretty good. Knocked him out. I thought he was dead when I first saw him, but he came through, and Doc was corpsmen are amazing people. Much respect for my corpsmen. Patched him up, and then we medevaced him onto Haditha Dam. The next day they came through, and the Marines bulldozed that whole area and cleared it all out, and never saw an IED there again. You ask all the locals around that area, who did they see, and no one ever gave me any information. They were too scared, or either too scared, or they're in with the whole process. You just never know.
Yeah, that's the thing. You're fighting kind of a maskless enemy, at that point, because everybody had kind of blended in with everybody, and you really didn't know.
You don't know who your enemy or your friend is. Exactly. You just don't know. And that was my first casualty. My second casualties of that first deployment, we were my lieutenant and another vehicle went on up the road a little ways. Me and my other vehicle, we stayed in a overwatch position. And all of a sudden, I heard the loudest explosion I've ever heard, and it was about a couple clicks away. And we jumped in our vehicles, and we headed up there. And that lead vehicle, they were coming back to us, and that lead vehicle got hit with a big VBID, a vehicle-borne IED. And it went off right next to the vehicle. And we'd have our packs on the vehicles. We'd have other stuff on the vehicle. It took everything off that vehicle. And my vehicle commander in that vehicle, he got a pretty good TBI from it, you know. And,
yeah.
It took him out rest of deployment, and we were only 3 months into deployment. Great sergeant. His name was Sergeant Castaneda. I remember his name. Good guy. I learned a lot from that guy. Holy cow, he was a stud. And it was hard losing him, but you know, I was like, no, you're done, buddy. You're gonna stay back in the rear and be Gunny's little errand boy now.
Right.
He didn't like,
you know, and that's the thing too. You know, even when guys get hurt, they don't want to go home. I mean, you want to stay with your brothers and you want to continue it out. And you know, at what point, what deployment was it when you got hurt? At what point was it when you got hurt?
That was my second deployment over there when I got hurt. But the rest of the first deployment, it went pretty smooth. We did, like I did, route security, finding IEDs. We found anything from VBIDs to IEDs in the open to IEDs in trash. We found them in dead animals. They just lay them in the middle of the road. It was unbelievable. Culverts. We'd find them in culverts.
Yeah, I know. They try to get super creative.
Something else. I mean, they were pretty good at it, but we were almost just as good at finding them, because very seldom would we get hit by IEDs that first deployment. And also over there, you know, I spent Christmas and Thanksgiving over there that first deployment. And believe it or not, one of the best Thanksgivings I ever had was that first deployment over there in Iraq. No kidding. It was my Marine Corps brothers, and we all had something to celebrate. And it was out on this fob called Fob Wolf, and a cook he called his cook Rico's Cantina, his cafeteria or whatever you call it, little hut. That's what it was. But I remember having out there, the battalion commander came out and had Thanksgiving with us, and it was quite nice. I mean, one of the best Thanksgivings I think I ever had was in Iraq.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the brotherhoods you make, they're family. They become your family. You rely on them day in and day out, for your life. And it's hard to explain that. It's hard for people to understand if you haven't been there. But you know, it's such a bond that we create, and it's a life-lasting bond.
Yeah, it was something else, man. I mean, we had Christmas over there. Christmas was just as good as Thanksgiving. We had that in Fob Hit. You know, we got to open up presents from family and all that crazy stuff. It was a lot of fun with those guys. We had Christmas trees. We had all kinds of crazy stuff. We tried to make the best out of it. It was fun. But came back.
Yeah, I mean, that's all you can do. You got to make the best out of the situation, you know. Yeah,
it was good times, believe it or not. But I came back home, I think in April 2004. We came back home. And got home. We were home not even a month, and we started training up for our second deployment. Hitting the ground running again, you know, out in the field constantly, training. And then we ended up going back to Iraq, I believe in February and March of 2006. Yes. We came back in 2005, ended up going back in 2006, yes. And that trip.
So real quick, being there your first time to your second time, could you see a significant difference by the way that people treated you or accepted you, or were they happy to see you when you come back, or what did you think the difference was between the first and second deployment?
I don't think there was much difference in the people, but the 2006 one was definitely rougher. Let's put it that way. You know, by then they had their tactics down better. IEDs were a lot better. The setting of IEDs, they did a lot more of that. I recall we're outside of Ramadi one day. That second deployment, we moved around a lot more. We were in Fallujah, we were in Al-Qaim, we were all over the Al-Anbar province. Literally, it was unbelievable. For a month here, 2 months here, 2 weeks here. They sent us wherever they needed us. That's what it was.
Right. And then on that note, Blaine, we're going to pause for another quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to lead right up to Blaine, right up when he got injured. So here's a word from our sponsors. We'll be right back.
So put your weapon next to mine. Put your weapon next to mine.
You're listening to Wounded But Not Broken with host Patrick Scrogin. We will be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Hey, right on down the line. Come on over. Come on over. What's not over?
My father was the best truck driver I've ever known in my life. Like a family tradition.
I'm a truck driver myself. I drove around the state with my cat.
To be the truck driver, you not just only see where you go, you see the world in the larger perspective.
This is a really good time to be in the trucking industry. The dispatchers get good loads for them. The equipment is very new, and then it's very reliable.
At GTS Transportation, we make dreams come true by employing truck drivers, dispatchers, mechanics, and many other occupations. Consider joining our rapidly expanding team where we put quality, human dignity, and respect back into the workforce. Contact us by visiting our website at gtscarrier.com or call us at 847-754-4667. That number again, 847-754-4667.
Dallas Corporation and Dallas Logistics, a proud supporter of the Veterans Radio broadcast for over 15 years. High-quality printing services and warehouse distribution have been our hallmark since 1985, serving Fortune 100 companies for over 35 years. Check us out at www.dallascorp.com.
VBN, Veterans Broadcast Network, brings you Unbroken, hosted by Patrick Scrogin. It lies within you to conquer your greatest challenges. Patrick tackles the stories of how others faced unthinkable odds, and then at a pivotal moment, a change occurred within them that gave them the strength, attitude, and direction to excel beyond the greatest expectations. Listen every week and learn how it is possible to defeat the impossible.
Welcome back to Wounded But Not Broken with host Patrick Scrogin.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Wounded But Not Broken. We're here with retired Master Sgt Blaine Scott, United States Marine Corps veteran. And Blaine, if you could, for time reasons, let's just go straight to that fateful day that you were hurt. Can you tell us about that?
All right. August 20th, 2006. It was a Sunday. I was up mad because I couldn't go to church that day, and like, hey, Staff Sergeant, you guys are going out and do a recon mission. Just recon an area that we're going to put a vehicle checkpoint. So, all right, no problem. We're just going to be out for a couple hours. So we jump in our vehicles, and only 3 of my vehicles were going out. My 4th one got hit a couple weeks ago, and I lost 4 Marines in a big IED. So I was down to only 3 vehicles in that my platoon by then. So we jumped in, we're going out, and we're checking where this vehicle checkpoint is going to be. And I was the last one out of 3 vehicles, and 2 vehicles, we started up a hill. And as soon as I turned off that hill, that IED went right off underneath my vehicle. I remember first thing I thought of was like, oh shit, I just lost Marines. And I saw, you know how you ever close your eyes, you see that bright light when a flashlight goes off in front of you? That's exactly what I saw. And I felt the whole vehicle lift up off the ground, slam back down. And automatically thought, man, I got to get out. I'm burning up. And just that the whole vehicle was flamed up. So I managed to get myself out of the vehicle, rolled off the vehicle, rolled onto the ground. And by then, one of my other Marines was right there to grab me and pull me away. At that time, I wasn't really worried about my injuries. I was more worried about my fellow Marines that were still in the vehicle. you know. And after they drugged me away, and I was like, okay, those guys are gone, unfortunately. You just know. And then Marines started dealing with me, dealing with my injuries, dealing with my other Marines' injuries, and got me another vehicle, got me back to the little fob we were at, and we were in Rawa then, and flew me back to Al-Assad, and then from Al-Assad they put me out. I don't remember anything going on. All I know is I was burned up, my left ankle was broke, and I remember the ride from Rawa to Al-Assad. I was like, all right, I'm breathing, I'm burned a little bit, ankle's broke, I'll be all right, not a big deal. 2 days later, 2 days later, I woke up in San Antonio at Brookhorn Medical Center. My wife was right there with me, and at the time, my wife was 7 months pregnant was 6 months pregnant with our soon-to-be son. That last little hoorah before I left, he got her pregnant, I guess. But she was pregnant, and she was right there saying, hey, don't worry about it, we'll get through this. All my injuries included, I was 40% burned, my head, arms, legs. I had a compound fracture in my left foot. I had broken ribs, collapsed lung, lacerated liver. That's about all I can think of right now. That's
so when you talk about your burns, Blaine, how what when you say your face was burned, like what degree?
Oh, my face was 3rd-degree burns. I didn't have much of a nose left. One ear was pretty bad. If you look at it now, it's a lot smaller than my other one. My lips were all burnt. My hair, I don't get a lot of my hair anymore because they were all burned off at the top of my head. I can't grow a beard because I got too many bald spots on my face. But after all my rehab at SAMSI, after about a year and a half, something like that, of them putting my ankle back together, my burns healing up as much as they could at the time. I haven't done anything with my face, I just kind of left it the way it was because I was through with surgeries, I was through with rehab. All I want to do is get back with Marines, get back to the Marine Corps. I had the option to get out medically, but I wasn't ready to. I couldn't. I love the Corps too much, and I couldn't do it. So in March of 2008, I left SAMSI. I had enough of it, and I reported to 1st Marine Division schools. I was the chief instructor of the Urban Leaders course there. Just making sure the course ran good and stuff like that. I went to UCLA to an organization called I got a brain fart. I'm sorry. It's a nonprofit, and they took me and they did pretty much rebuilt my face back. They fixed my lips, they fixed my eyes, gave me a new nose. I think in total I had over 15 surgeries on my face up there in UCLA. They fixed my ankle. I was having a lot of problems with that. They did that, which I was grateful for because it hurt so bad I just wanted to cut it off at one time. And from 2008, 2010, that's all I did was surgeries back and forth from UCLA, plus running my school, my course, and then doing all that stuff. Then after all that, I stayed in the Marine Corps, got promoted to gunnery sergeant. In 2010, I deployed to Afghanistan for 7 months. Granted, it wasn't the stuff I was used to doing. All they did was put me in I was at Camp Leatherneck with the Camp Commandant's office over there, making sure the operations of the base went well.
Right, but I think this is a very, very important point. Here you are, 2006, you get hurt, you almost die, you get burnt, your injuries are crazy. You spend the next few years trying to get back, and that's all you want to do is you want to go back and do your job. And I think that's a very hard thing for people to understand when we're asked to do a job for the country, we want to do it. We're not. We want to go out on our own terms, not because of
exactly.
some unfortunate instance. And you're a prime example of that, and I salute you for that.
I had problems in the beginning, like, wow, I got beat. They beat me. No way am I going to let this get me down. No way am I going to let them beat me.
Right.
Yeah, you knocked me down a little bit, but you know what? I'm coming back, and I'm coming back just as strong as I was, at least as close to it as I could, and
right.
I wasn't going to let them keep me down. No way. I want to be a role model to those other Marines out there going through the same thing I was going through. Hey,
that's exactly right, sir, and that is why we are the best country in the world, because we have people like you.
Well, I just do what I got to do, just for my family. I want to be that role model for my son. And to this day, I think I am. To him, he's 14 years old now, and he's a little beast.
Future Marine.
Yeah, he plays football and everything. He got hurt the other day, and didn't count him out. He did pretty good. But
yeah, I mean the kids that grow up in that military mindset, that military structure, just you can tell it's a different way of growing up.
Yeah, it is. But I did my deployment to Afghanistan, did as best I could, and it's funny because I'd be in a truck heading out of the wire, and my master gun's like, Scott, what the hell are you doing? Get the hell out. They would not let me off that base even if I tried. I almost made it a few times. But I came back in, when did I come back? May and June, somewhere in the summertime. I came back from Afghanistan, did a couple schools while I was back, and as a gunnery sergeant. And I called my monitor up, and I said, hey, Master Guns, I've been here 3 years. This was 2011. I need to go somewhere else. What do you got for me? And he goes, you got 3 choices: Bethesda, San Antonio, Hawaii. Pick one. I was like, no, no. I don't know what I'll be doing, but no. He's like, nope, pick one. Which one? I was like, well, I'll just go to Texas. I was down in Texas. I know about Texas. Well, I ended up coming out here and running the Marine Corps Wounded, Ill, and Injured Wounded Detachment at SAMC, or at BAMC. I was senior advisor, so I just pretty much came back home, left as a patient, come back running the place. And when I first got there, I was like, man, I had over 72 Marines, and I had a staff of 26, pretty much doubled when I left in 2010 or 2008. And again, you try to be that role model to those guys coming back from Afghanistan, with missing limbs, burnt, shot. You try to be there for their families. My wife was a great role model there. She was there for the wives where they have any questions, the moms if they had any questions. I sat down with those Marines. They'd be in their hospital bed, and I was like, hey, this is how it's going to work, man. Right.
Yeah, and I'm sure that having your wife and everything that your wife had been through and you all had been through together, I'm sure having her there to be able to talk to the other wives, I'm sure that's huge. That's tremendous.
That was huge. And having those families, as soon as they get to they call it SAMC now, San Antonio Military Medical Center. Those families, as soon as they get there and say, hey, this is what you're going to expect for the next 2 to 3 years, the rest of your life. And that was you try not to have many surprises. You know what I'm saying? You try to lay it all out.
Yeah, I mean, it's your new normal. I mean, it's your new normal, and you got to face it, and you got to overcome it.
Yeah, it was hard for some of them to understand that, but it didn't take them long to realize what was going on. And I feel like I was a good role model for those kids. I was down there from 2011 until I retired in 2015. And it was quite a rewarding but very, very hard at the job at the same time. Some of the hardest things I ever did, I think, when I was down there with
right,
those
I
guys.
bet. I bet. And with that being said, I know you got more to your story. We're going to take another quick break here, and you all don't want to miss this last part of Master Sgt Blaine Scott's story. We'll be right back with a quick word from our sponsors.
Put your weapon next to mine. Put your weapon next to mine.
You're listening to Wounded But Not Broken with host Patrick Scrogin. We will be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Hey, right on down the line. Come on over. Come on over. What's not over?
Attention, looking for semi-drivers nationwide. GTS Transportation of Burr Ridge, Illinois is looking to hire or partner with experienced CDL holders in every state. If you are going to drive, why not drive for the best? Whether you are driving solo, as a team, or as an owner-operator, GTS is looking to add you to their rapidly growing company. Become part of one of the most respected, driver-friendly, and successful transportation companies in America, where drivers are treated as royalty. Contact us at gtscarrier.com. Again, gtscarrier.com. Or call us at 847-754-4667. That number again, 847-754-4667. We would love to help you, which in turn helps everyone. GTS is an equal opportunity employer.
Dallas Corporation and Dallas Logistics, a proud supporter of the Veterans Radio broadcast for over 15 years. High-quality printing services and warehouse distribution have been our hallmark since 1985, serving Fortune 100 companies for over 35 years. Check us out at www.dallascorp.com.
VBN, Veterans Broadcast Network, brings you Unbroken, hosted by Patrick Scrogin. It lies within you to conquer your greatest challenges. Patrick tackles the stories of how others faced unthinkable odds, and then at a pivotal moment, a change occurred within them that gave them the strength, attitude, and direction to excel beyond the greatest expectations. Listen every week and learn how it is possible to defeat the impossible.
Welcome back to Wounded But Not Broken with host Patrick Scrogin.
All right, everybody. Wrapping up. He's at BAMC. They're running the Wounded Warrior Department of the Marine Detachment. Go ahead, Blaine.
All right. Well, I'm going to talk about 2015. I retired. You just know when it's time to retire. And as soon as I retired, my wife started working for an organization called the Semper Fi Fund. The Semper Fi Fund, I've seen them do amazing stuff. It'll help these guys when they come back from financially. Help them financially when they come back from their injuries, help the families with hotel rooms, help the families with rental cars, help the families have a little extra spending money, help families with mortgages, help families with rent, because it takes it's quite devastating for these guys, and it's quite a hit in the pocketbook when these guys come back, for these families. So, I worked hand in hand with those guys when I was on active duty. Well, my wife, she ended up getting hired by these guys when I retired. So she continued to help wounded, ill, and injured Marines after I retired. Well, here I am. I jumped from job to job. Kind of couldn't quite really find my place, and I called my wife's boss up and said, "Hey, how can I start volunteering for you guys? This is what I want to do. I want to start holding events for these guys." For the Wounded, Ill, and Injured Marines at SAMC, and to our local veterans, who's part of the Semper Fi Fund. I just want to volunteer. She's like, you know what? Do better yet. I'm going to hire you. This is what we're going to do. And she told me this. I want you to hold events for these guys. I want you to do things for these guys. I want you to be there for these guys. I want you to be role models for these guys. So I ended up getting hired on after I was out of the Marine Corps for about a little over a year. And so I still work with wounded, ill, and injured Marines. I still, now they call it the Simplify Americans Fund, because now not only are we helping Marines, we're helping any other service out there. You know, and
right.
I'm down at SAMC monthly, if not every other week, and they're talking to those guys. What can I do for you? How can I do it? You know, like this week I'm taking a bunch of them to a museum. Just taking them out to a museum, get away from the hospital for a few hours, just to kind of recharge.
Yeah, and that's such a tremendous part of the recovery process. You know, you go in and day out, you know, you're trying to get better, you know, you're trying to heal from your wounds, and and like you said, there's a lot of financial issues, and you're so worried about all this stuff, and really the last thing you should be worried about is money. I mean, hell, you just fought for your country for God knows how many years, you know, you should come back, you know what I mean? And, you know, it's organizations and guys like you that make that so much better.
And let me tell you what the Simplify did for me. You know, I come back, I couldn't do anything. My wife's 7 months pregnant. She just comes with the clothes on her back. That's it. Thinking she's just going to pick me up and we're going back to California. No, you know, and they went out. They gave my wife money for a hotel room. They gave my wife money for a rental car. They gave her money to go out and buy new maternity clothes. They held a baby shower for my wife. This is the whole time I was in the hospital. And really took care of her, so they didn't want her to worry about nothing. And it wasn't for the Simplify doing those little things for us. We would have survived, but it would have been a lot worse. You know, we would have struggled big time. You know, they got me a handicapped van so I can get around in, and they really helped me out in the beginning. And it wasn't for them, life would have been so rough. And,
I mean, that's such an awesome deal and such an important piece that, you know, not a lot gets concentrated on, not enough in my opinion. There's so many people out there that do a lot, and, you know, they really don't want the recognition, but they definitely deserve it.
Yep. So I'm doing that this Friday, and next week I'm doing a cook your own steak night for a bunch of veterans. We're coming out, and we'll sit there, we'll cook our own steak, we'll BS, we'll talk about life, we'll talk about, hey, what are you doing nowadays? You know, how can we help you? We got a horsemanship program, which I've seen change military guys' life. We got internship programs to help these guys start their own businesses. The Simplify Fund's amazing. They're near and dear to my heart. That's why I talk about them the way it is. And that's a whole nother hour's worth of stuff I can talk about.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
You know,
I'm sure.
Now,
Blaine, I know that everything that you've been through, I know there's another piece to your story. You can choose to tell it or not to tell it. I know it's very emotional.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's very emotional for you. But maybe, you know, if you want to throw out some awareness for that.
Well, this part here is harder to talk about than my injuries any day of the week. August 30th, 2016 was the worst day of my life. We lost our little girl through suicide. You know, I will take getting blowed up over 1 million times. I would go through the same pain, even worse pain than I could, just to get my little girl back. 12 years old, and she took her life because of being bullied at school, being bullied on social media. And you don't realize how bad it really hurts, you know, how bad your kid is going. I didn't realize how bad my kid was, how my daughter Isabella was. I didn't know how bad she had it. You know, I don't know, she just didn't talk to me about it. I don't know. You know, I tried to get it out of her. Hey, what's going on? How's life? She seemed to kind of bottle it up inside. And one day she couldn't take it, and I wasn't home. My wife wasn't home, and she took her own life. And so me and my wife, we got a little nonprofit called the Isabella Foundation, and all it does is bring awareness to bullying in our schools and in our community. And we get a lot of phone calls from people. My kid's being bullied. My kid tried to take his life, and my kid did take his life because of bullying. What can we do? And we advise them. That's all we do. We advise them. We get out in the community and we talk to people. We tell them this is what you need to do. This is how you do it. Because we don't want that. I don't wish this upon my worst enemy. And I mean, even the person that blew me up, I don't wish this upon them. To be honest with you, because it's the worst thing that could ever happen to anybody.
Yeah, man, I don't even know how to relate. I don't know, what feelings I would have. I mean, my heart goes out to you and your wife, and I know that has to be such a terrible deal. But I mean, you hit the nail on the head. I think social media is like a damn virus for these kids, and it's a shame that it's gotten so powerful and so influential in everybody's lives, especially young kids, and it has such an impact. And I think that story, and I'm sure there's thousands of more that need to be told. I mean, the power that social media has over people is just insane to me. It's crazy, and everything that you went through and your family went through, and then you had to deal with that. I don't know, man. That's such it's just difficult, and I think for anybody listening, I don't know how you don't have tears in your eyes right now, but I hope that we can do something here, and grab some people to help out with the Isabella Fund. That'd be awesome.
Isabella Foundation is what it's called. Me and my wife has. We're a really pretty small town foundation, But who cares how I feel? The person I worry about is my wife. She's the one that found my daughter, and she suffers day in and day out because of it to this day. It's hard for her, and all I can do is be there for her and hold her when she cries and just let her talk, let her express herself. She, believe it or not, she had got major PTSD from that. And
how could you not?
Yeah, but she's came a long ways, man. She can talk about it with people. She can express her feelings to other people now. There for a while she just shut off to the world, man. It took everything I had to kick her in the butt to get out and talk about this. She's the one that came up with this foundation, this nonprofit. She's the one that pretty much oversees it, the do's and don'ts and the cans and can'ts, and she's the one that talks more about it than I do. She's a hell of a strong woman. She's been through a lot, and anybody that has a wife like mine, even just half as mine, would be a lucky person. After dealing with my situation and being pregnant and taking care of me, taking care of my son, and taking losing my daughter, and she's still there for me, and just as much as I'm there for her.
Well, and that's the thing. It just sounds like y'all are such a great team. I mean, she's a Marine, right? And so, she lives that with you. She's indoctrinated. Yeah. So, that's such an awesome thing to hear. That y'all are such a team like that, and y'all have overcame some tremendous odds. And man, I salute you for that. And people like you are what makes the world a better place, man. I truly do believe that.
Well, don't get me wrong. We've almost slipped a few times, but we sit down, we talk about it, get the help that we need, and it just made us stronger, And I couldn't ask for a better wife than what I have today. She's a great woman. Yeah.
Man, that's awesome, dude. I can't thank you enough for sharing your story. It's such a touching one. I know there's so many more details in there that you can tell, and we'll have you on in a future show to tell them. And I got two questions for you. One, would you do anything different? And number two, what if you could change something? What would you change?
Oh man, I wish I was 15 years younger. I'd do it all over again. Shit, yeah. I wouldn't change a thing, Marine Corps wise, I don't think I'd do anything different. I would stay in the Marine Corps. I love it. Like I said, if I could do it all over again, I would. I love the Marine Corps. I love the military. and I miss it every day. I miss it every day. Anything different? I think about my daughter, how I would treat her different, how I could have changed things there. Probably do a little different, when it comes to my kid, but Marine Corps wise, I probably wouldn't do anything different than what I did.
Yeah, fair enough, man. I completely agree, and I can't imagine what that was like. And I know, that saying goes, everything happens for a reason, but in them reasons that shit is happening, the human brain can't comprehend it. And it's such an amazing thing that you and your wife have been through and what you've overcame and what you're doing now. And so quickly, could you just state the organization again and how to get in touch and how to donate?
All right. The organization I work for is Simplify Americans Fund. Just Google Simplify Americans Fund. You'll find it out like that. And the Isabella Foundation. I don't think we got a website, and people just send us checks every now and then. Like I said, we're small time when it comes to that stuff, and that's about it with those guys.
Well, that's okay. So let's make it bigger. So where do we? How do we?
You send checks to us, to the Isabella Foundation, right to our home address, 5758 Keller Ridge, New Braunfels, Texas, 78132. Again, 5758 Keller Ridge, New Braunfels, Texas, 78132. And all that money just goes back into so we can just get the word about anti-bullying and how to stomp it out. Stomp out bullying. That's one of our sayings. So,
yeah.
But,
that's awesome, and I hope we can get the word out and help you all with that. And again, I'm going to hit on that social media thing. I think that's a huge thing. That's a good place to start. And so I'm going to just say this: if anybody did not get the how to donate or where to donate, you can email me at patrick@veteransradiohour.com. That's patrick@veteransradiohour.com, and just hit me up with what you want to donate to the Isabella Foundation, and I'll make sure that you get that correct address and how to go about that. And any donations we could get for that, we would greatly appreciate. It's for a great cause. That's that's such a touching story for me, man. I can't even comprehend it. But again, Blaine, I can't thank you enough for getting on here and sharing your story with us.
Anytime, my friend. It's good to hear your voice again. So
yes, man, and we'll do it again. We'll go into the whole. We'll talk about the Simplify Foundation, and we could do. I know we can do a whole segment on that. They do so much for wounded veterans.
Oh God, could we? It's unbelievable.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
Yeah. But hey, man, I really appreciate it, and I really do thank you for coming on and donating an hour of your night for us. It's super important to us, and we really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Oh, anytime, my friend. Thank you very much.
All right, so that's going to conclude this episode. Tune in next week for another exciting show from Veterans Outdoors. I don't know if anybody that's listening, how they couldn't have tears in their eyes after listening to that. That's one of our true American heroes there, and people like him, we owe our lives to. Thank you.
You're listening to Wounded But Not Broken with host Patrick Scrogin.
Attention, looking for semi-drivers nationwide. GTS Transportation of Burr Ridge, Illinois is looking to hire or partner with experienced CDL holders in every state. If you are going to drive, why not drive for the best? Whether you are driving solo, as a team, or as an owner-operator, GTS is looking to add you to their rapidly growing company. Become part of one of the most respected, driver-friendly, and successful transportation companies in America, where drivers are treated as royalty. Contact us at gtscarrier.com. Again, gtscarrier.com. Or call us at 847-754-4667. That number again, 847-754-4667. We would love to help you, which in turn helps everyone. GTS is an equal opportunity employer.
Dallas Corporation and Dallas Logistics, a proud supporter of the Veterans Radio broadcast for over 15 years. High-quality printing services and warehouse distribution have been our hallmark since 1985, serving Fortune 100 companies for over 35 years. Check us out at www.dallascorp.com.
VBN, Veterans Broadcast Network, brings you Unbroken, hosted by Patrick Scrogin. It lies within you to conquer your greatest challenges. Patrick tackles the stories of how others faced unthinkable odds, and then at a pivotal moment, a change occurred within them that gave them the strength, attitude, and direction to excel beyond the greatest expectations. Listen every week and learn how it is possible to defeat the impossible.